All right. Good morning. What is today? Thursday. Happy Thursday. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into these charts here. Don't know if y'all got some system audio. Put that up there. Let's jump out to this view. Let's go here. All right. So you can see we're still falling from yesterday's FOMC meeting. So basically, the general consensus of yesterday's meeting was that they are going to raise the rates another 3/4 of a point, so 0.75. That was more or less what was rumored that they were going to swap out to that. Yeah, I should say move up to that, and that's what they did. And then JPAL continued to go on and say more or less that they supposedly have other tools in the tool shed, but that is the main thing that they're going to be focusing on is driving up rates in order to bring down inflation, and we can see that reflected in the charts. We can see the more or less the overall negative aspect of the. Have you set the notification? Oh, okay. Sorry, someone was asking me a question. Um, so we can see more or less the negative aspect of the FOMC meeting and the subsequent 3/4 of a point that they were talking about raising the rates, and the market reacting in that way. I think that the entire idea of this is to. Oh, the music is louder than me. How is that? There's actually a cue that I have um, about the music. Can you hear me now, or is it just all music? Wow, I barely changed it at all. I adjusted the I adjusted it on epidemic side, but I can't tell like if so I have like several different volume controls, and sometimes I don't know which one is actually affecting the stream, just because there's like so many. But yeah, long story short, we can basically see that the FOMC meeting was not a positive meeting in terms of the economic outlook, and that they are more or less looking to continue to raise rates in order to induce recession, um, so that they can tamper the market intentionally. Um, which makes a lot of sense because really, I mean, I was calling for a recession before COVID. So basically around 2016, 2017 or something like that, I was like, okay, it's about time that we start seeing another cooling of the economy. And I was thinking that by 2018 that we would have already entered into a very mild recession. But that wasn't the case. Um, a lot of the economy ended up getting propped up, but when COVID hit, you know, basically the economy went nuts, kind of haywire in a lot of directions. Mainly, it went way up and not down. And so all that like stimulus and all that other type of stuff was a huge, driver of inflation, which wasn't really all for that because basically I saw a bunch of people being like, "Yeah, all right, stimulus checks, free money, woo!" But it's not free. You have to pay for it, and you pay for it with inflation and higher taxes and other things like that. So I personally believe that this current situation with recession and things like that was totally avoidable and completely predictable. The inflation that we're experiencing today was as predictable as anything. Being it was about as predictable as it gets. And really, that's just what happens when stimulus checks come out. Uh, I read an article that said that the average person um, is paying up to 16x what they received in stimulus. They're paying that back in inflation, up to 1,600% increase. It's kind of like the worst loan in the world. Um, with the exception of it being like, we're going to break your thumbs if you don't pay us, kind of thing. Um, but there's not really an option not to pay because it's all get paid through inflation economy. So as far as the charts are concerned, on the 3 minute chart, you can see that we are stacking on the TTM. We are stacking below the VWAP, but we did come down here and test this EMA 35. And really, we're trying to get above the VWAP here. Did get up and pull back pretty heavily off of, what is this, 45? Yeah, about 45. Stack on the 3 is 8.6 to 10.2 to 12.4. Okay, so that's looking pretty decent. Gonna take a feeler trade here off the 3 minute chart. And just looking for 8 ticks. It's a $2 move to the upside. So I think that's a pretty reasonable ask. Looking for 73 and 73.75. Entered in at 33.75. Sorry, I'm looking for 37.35.75 is the exit, the intended exit. I'm gonna switch over to the 1 minute chart and see what we're reading there. Currently flat on this trade. We got red candles on the TTM on the 1. I took the trade based off the 3 minute chart. So we are getting some push down on the 1 minute. Nice little pop up there. So first trade of the day, up 500 in the sim. And we're coming up to test VWAP. On the 1 minute chart, 9 is above 12. It's dancing pretty close to the 26. And I think the next big move on the 1 minute chart is going to be this 50 EMA getting above this 200. And that should give us the strength that we need in order to push up through the VWAP. Just checking in on some comments. How did you end up the day yesterday, Tiny? I'm just curious. There was a lot of chatter in the Discord group. Unfortunately, I was unable to spend much time in there last night. Still rearranging the office. No worries. So first trade of the day, up 500. Get some nice push up here. Potential rejection by the VWAP, but enjoying the bid right here. We're in at 37.75.
Order filled.
Push up at 39. No. That's a pretty heavy drawdown. Still holding on to this trade.
Order filled.
All right, we got that trade that was 5 ticks to the upside on the evaluation with 5 contracts. So that was 290.7 in our eval. We say it pushed all the way up to 40.75, so we could have even got another 7 ticks on top of that. Really strong move to the upside now, and we are finally back in green on our evaluation, so that's nice. Um, movement looking strong on the TTM. Got a fresh yellow. Um, and pushing up on the VWAP here. Checking the 3-minute chart. It's looking great. Nice strong move to the upside. I can see us getting resistance around 50 or 54-ish. I'm gonna put this on a 12 tick. Looks like that definitely could have been a nice 12 tick move there. I'm looking for an entry here off of, got an entry at 39, and I'm looking for a move up to 42. It's a little bit more of a pullback that I want to see. Currently down 2 ticks, not too bad. Looks like 45 is our kind of line in the sand. I think that will likely come up and hit that. Looking for 12 ticks to the upside, which would be worth about 750 bucks. 5-minute chart's looking good for the upside move as well. Really, this is kind of just looking pretty decent for upside movement. Currently green on this trade. Now we're looking for this 1-minute candle to make a new high. Momentum went from 2.8 to 1.8 to 1.6. That's a lot of die off in that momentum there. I may take some profits here. All right, we took those profits up 437.50 on that trade. That puts us up 1062.50 in the sim today and around 300 in the evaluation today. So looking good on the day so far. Got back into green on the eval. That's definitely nice. Been trying to do that for the whole week. And it's nice to be back there. A little bit of a pop off of 39 up to 40. Looking stronger now. Switching cyan. Oh man, look at that rip. There's a 12 tick move right there, or more. Continuing to push up higher and higher. Like I said, I thought we had room up to about 50. Gonna try and get an entry here off of like 43.50 if we pull back that far. I don't know if we will. Nope. We did actually. I actually got an entry at 42.50, so much better entry. Time left in this candle. It's a brand new candle now. TTM went from flat to 0.8. Nice bounce off of 42. Should have taken that entry at 42. Could have got that full 5 ticks up. Reducing this trade to try and get out at 44. Cutting it right there. Took 125 in profit on that. Should have broke out a little faster, that's why I cut it early. Okay, so pulling up the 3-minute chart, you can see we've got this double top here at 45. I told you 45 would probably act as resistance, but I do think that we have room up to 50. 3-minute chart still stacking on the cyan pretty well actually, from 14.5 to 16.2. Next candle is in about 30 seconds on the 3-minute chart. Yep. Next candle's at 48. Let's check the 5. So the 5-minute, you can see that this breakout is relatively fresh. And we went from 4.3 to 6.1 to 9.0. That is strong movement. Very strong movement to the up. We're breaking above that 45 zone. I'm going to join the bid here. Missed my entry. Turn to the bid now. Got in at 46.50, so missed that like $2 move to the up. Um, Exited at 49.50, so I'm looking for resistance at 37.50. Jumping back to the evaluation. There's 30 seconds left in this candle. And man, I knew I should hit join the bid. It's currently battling 48. A few seconds left in this. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like spiked up right before the candle close. Okay, little pullback. For the pullback, looking for it to go down to about 46 and a half, maybe 40, 47, and a bounce off that. So it did bounce. It did pull back to 46 and through 46.75. Came up and dojied at the top. I'm a little hesitant to take moves in the evaluation at the moment. Although I do think this is going to push up to 49. I'm going to take the profit here. Up 1375 in the sim today. About 300 in the evaluation. How's everyone doing out there today? Pretty low numbers today. This is kind of like slow and predictable, and I like that. Like, I like when there is a reasonable amount of volume, unlike yesterday. Like, yesterday I had, like, no volume and made it really challenging to trade. But today the volume is really nice. You ended $300 after fees. That is awesome, Tiny. Dude, Tiny, you're getting better. And by the way, one thing I've noticed about you, Tiny, is that your numbers are getting bigger. I saw that you put in that day the other day that was a red day that was a little over a K that you had posted in the Discord group, and I remember reading that, thinking to myself that you're expanding your mindset. My thought was, even though this is one of the bigger red days that I've seen her have, at the same time, like, that to me showed me that you're getting a little bit more aggressive in your trading. I think it was gonna pay off, and that right there, $300 that even after fees, that's awesome, because just 2-3 months ago, you were looking at it being like 15 to $25 and being like, we're green, yay. And obviously green is good, but I can see you pushing more, and I can see you pushing to new heights, and I think that's awesome. I think it's really going to help your trading progress over the next like 2, 3, 4 weeks, and through the winter season. I think that's going to really help your trading progress. Jumping back into the charts. So looks like we did hit 50. So our trade would have worked out. And 50 was where I was looking at for a rejection point. That's exactly what happened. So rejecting off of 50 now. Now we're going to see if this holds like around 43, maybe 45. I don't want to see it pull back much more than that. But if you look in this 1 minute chart, the 50 is just crossed above the 200 moving average. So I do think that we're pretty strong here at this point. Checking out the 3 on 3 minute chart, we're still stacking in the upward direction. 3 minute chart, we're probably going to run into resistance here at 55. I think that'll be our next like resistance zone. A very nice U-shaped pattern breakout. Checking the 5 minute chart. Five-minute went from 9.3 to 12.2. That's such great movement. And before that, I went from 6.1 to 9.5. That's awesome momentum right now. Such a relief after yesterday's like really drab, really boring, really low volume day. Line in the sand at 55 and 60. 55 being the 200 moving average on on the 3 minute chart, and 60 being the 200 moving average on the 5 minute chart. Red hammer candle on the 5, so we're going to be looking for the next 5 minute candle to go green. If the next 5 minute candle doesn't go green, then we'll likely continue to pull back even further, maybe down to 40, possibly 45. Still a minute left on this 5 minute candle. And our next 3 minute candle is at right now. So brand new 3 minute candle. Let's see, we ended this red at 47 flat, and currently kind of like right there at a doji. So if you look at the 3 minute candle and you look at the TCM on the 3, you can see that the at 48, the TCM was at 18.7, and at 40 or 51 it was at 19.2. Now compare that with the candles before, where it went from 14.5 to 16.8, so a move of 2.3, and then to 18.7, so a move of 1.9. So compare it with that, and then you can see that from 18.7 to 19.2, it's only a half a point versus the other ones being over 2. So you can see sort of the leveling off, and then as we go into the next 3 minute candle here that just started, we're actually getting a red. So we likely are going to see more pulling back, probably to about this 9 EMA right here on the 3 minute chart, which is right around 42. So I might be looking for this candle and the next candle to go red on the 3 minute chart, and looking for a line around 40. Unless, of course, this bounces here. So if this happens to bounce off this 45 and move upward, then we may get additional movement. Currently, it's only at like 0.4. So it's really going to come down to exactly what's happening right now. So we are getting this 3 minute candle that is actually making a new high. So so bouncing off, getting a last like little surge of momentum. Our next 3 minute candle is going to be at 57, which is in 40 seconds. So if this 3 minute candle ends high, like ends on the upper end of the spectrum, then we'll likely see movement up to 55. If it doesn't end high, like above this 50 zone, if it doesn't end above 50, then we'll likely continue to pull back. Looks like it's going to decide to end above 50 though. Or like right at 50. Alright, new 3 minute candle forming right at 49. You can see we've got a flag right there. Very nice looking flag forming after some momentum leveling off. So that's actually pretty good because this could act as consolidation. So there's a flag on the 3 minute chart. I'm going to join the bid here. Entered in at 49.75 and looking to exit at 52.75. So I'm looking for a $3 move. I mean, it might be a lot to ask unless we get a bounce off this flag. Taking the profit here, made 312.50 on that trade, up 17.50 in the sim today, and around 300 in the evaluation. Checking in with y'all's. I are back. Oh, perfect music and voice. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That kind of feedback just really, really helps a lot. Okay, here's a question for you because one of them is me adjusting system audio, which is what I expect that the stream is picking up. One of them is me adjusting just my overall audio. So tell me if this increases the sound of the music, okay? So did that increase the sound of the music? Let me know if you saw the or heard the volume spike at all. Cooling on the 1 minute chart. You can see we went from 19 flat to 18 and a half. Um, where are we at on the three? You should have a 3 minute chart or a 3 minute candle forming. Next one's at 8 o'clock. So at the top of the hour, I'm currently like flat on TTM. Um, the longer it stays flat on TTM, the more likely we are to have a pullback. Um, and when I say flat, I'm talking about the momentum tracker. So went from 19 and a half to 19 and a half. So basically ended same to 18.7. So cooling on the TTM on the 3. We could still bounce off of 50 and come up and test this 54 here, or 53.75. 5 minute chart, still showing cyan and still have a little like pendant. 5 minute chart cooling a little bit. You can see we went from 12.3 to 15.2, which was very strong momentum on that after that 5 minute pullback. To from 15.2 to 17.3. So still a 2.0 mark. It's not the 3.0 that we were seeing for these big momentum moves, but you can see still pulling out momentum on the 5, which means I think that we still have room up to 60. I think that this is just a consolidation on the 1 and the 3 minute chart, and I don't think it's going to last. I think that we're going to have potential room up to 55. I think is a very real test, but I think that 55 through 60 is potential. Entered in a long here. It may pull back a little bit more. I may regret this, especially trading on the 1 versus the 5. Yeah, that's a pretty hefty pullback. Hands over the cover button in case I gotta access. Currently down about $1. Pulling back up into flat territory, slightly green on it. We were looking to exit at 52 and a half. I think this is a little too aggressive for this current candle situation. Got out with a small profit, right around 50 or so, up 18.75 on the day in the sim. Haven't taken any more trades in the evaluation, although I have seen some ops, but I just haven't done it. So we are at the top of the hour. It's 8:02, about to be 8:03. So we're about to get a 3 minute candle here in a second. So this is the line in the sand I was talking about. The first big push will be 53 and a half. and cooling went from 1905 to 1901 to 1807, uh, and it literally kissed the 200, like exactly. Look at that. That's why I use this 200 simple moving average, because you can basically measure it on the 1, 3, and 5 and utilize it as resistance for like how much room does this have to run. Um, it really helps engaging like how much you should actually look to take on the trade. It's not like anything a guarantee, but it's very helpful as a guide. Another 5 minute pullback. Next candle's at 8:05, which is just under a minute. And on the 5 minute chart, we've got room up to 37.60. And then likely we'll do some consolidation around this zone underneath this 200 moving average and in between VWAP. Um, Likely in between the 9 moving average as well. Where's our 50 moving average on the 5? There it is. Sometimes it comes a little hard to see. So our 50 moving average is currently right at VWAP. That's why it was hard to see. So our 50 moving average is just now beginning to cross above VWAP. It's like right on there. So the next big move we're going to be looking for on the 5 minute chart is for this EMA 35 to get above this EMA 50. And the 50 EMA now beginning to diverge from the volume weighted average price. So I think that we're likely going to see another move up, but not before we see some consolidation. Um, I can see this potentially falling down to the 9, which is right at 43, and then bouncing off of the 9 and moving up from there. You can see that we do have like a little bit of a wedge type flag facing to the upside, which a lot of times this means some downward move before the upward move. Now, flags are not exact, but when you see sort of like this channel here, like that, where you have that channel, a lot of times we'll get this sort of like break down before we see the move back up. So we might get like a little U-shaped pattern on the 5 minute chart. And vice versa, if this channel was flipped and facing to the downside, then likely we would already be in that sort of like little wedge pattern to the downside and then see the bounce off of that. So these are just likelies. It's never a guarantee. There's no such thing. Oh man, I wasn't even showing my charts. Man, it's always annoying. Very frustrating when that happens. I literally just took that off my screen too. So the wedge pattern I was talking about was this here. Right there. And there. On the 5 minute chart. So when it's angled upward, then we likely see downward move. And I'm looking for a bounce off the 9 EMA, which is this yellow guy here, on the 5 minute chart. If we pull back past that, then I want to see it hold the 12, but likely it's the 9 that matters for us to hold on the 5 minute chart. And as I was saying, that the 50 moving average right here, we're going to want to see that continue to push up. We're going to want to see this blue line, this 35, get above this 50 EMA, above that. Once we begin to get that, then we'll likely see continued move up. There's that bounce off that 9 that I mentioned. So the 9 being right there around 42.5, bouncing up to 44. And we're looking at resistance here at this zone at right around 60. So I'm jumping back to the 3 minute chart and we'll take an assessment off of there. You see that wedge pattern even played out on the 3 minute chart pretty well. They rejected right at the 200 moving average on the 3 minute chart, as I mentioned that it likely would. And on the 3 minute chart, we're looking for pullback to, I guess the potential would be to the VWAP, although I don't want it to pull back that far. If it pulls back that far, then there's a chance that this momentum move could be over and we'll be switching back to downward movement. I don't really want that. I want this to continue to hold here in this zone so that we have more upward moves in with momentum to the upside. If we get that, I don't know. 1 minute chart, you can see that it rejected right there at that the same area. That's that 200 moving average on the 3. But now we're getting pullback and getting bounce off the 50 EMA. On the 1 minute chart, you see 9 is below 12, and we've got the 26 crossing above it all, indicating downward momentum and downward move. Also, with the 1 minute chart, you can see the TTM is turning red. So likely we're going to see a scenario like we saw right here, where we got this pullback. It looked like it sort of rejected the VWAP a little bit, pulled back, bounced up to 50, and in the process went red on the TTM. And then once it switched back to yellow, right here, that's when we got this larger move to the upside and a continued movement up. So we're going to be looking for that first yellow candle to show itself on the TTM in order to indicate the trend reversal back to the upside. We want this to hold the 50 EMA to continue with bullish sentiment. We have good volume, which is great. Yesterday we had almost no volume, so that additional volume is definitely going to help us continue to push up. Doji at the bottom. A lot of times when there's doji at the bottom, it's indicative of the beginning of a trend reversal to the upside. TTM went from 2.3 to 3.0. Sorry, 3.3 to 4.0. So still in the territory where we're getting some downward momentum. We got that doji down there at the bottom above this 50 moving average, and we tested the 50. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now. This is on the 5 or the 5th test, I should say, of the 50 EMA. Now on the 5-minute chart, we got a new candle forming at 8:15. So this 5-minute candle just started, and we've got cooling on the 5, or at least in between. And on the 5, I was looking for bounces off the 9 and possibly off the 12. So that's kind of where we're at. Tiny, this is awesome, by the way. I like that you're using multiple indicators to develop your own strategy and your own style that is helping you to be able to interpret that trade idea in your own way with your own methodology. I think that is super impactful, and that's a sign of a good trader when they're developing their own style. It's helpful to get information from me and other traders online, where they, where we sort of developed our own strategies and whatnot. But ultimately, in the end, you've got to take all that advice and all that knowledge and sort of take it, mix it up in a blender, and come out with your own ideas and your own ideology in terms of trading. And in doing so, you'll become significantly more accurate, and you'll understand your own trade strategy much better. Um, it's very difficult, in my opinion, to copy a trade strategy completely. You still have to put your own spin on it, no matter what it is. Interesting, Tiny. I did not know that. I actually thought that it was always sharing the system audio. I didn't realize that the music was cutting in and out when I um, removed the shared screen. That's actually pretty frustrating. Um, so I guess I just need to share the screen always in order to keep the music going. That's kind of frustrating because sometimes I like to switch back and I don't always like to show my back office. But I don't have another way to manage comments yet, so it's all a work in progress. I expect that the stream will likely get better over before the end of the year, just because I expect that I'll probably be putting more energy and effort into the refinement of the overall brand, feel, presentation, and everything like that. Just kind of increasing the smoothness. This first quarter that we've been doing this, as we started at the end of Q3 or middle way through Q3. So this first quarter or so that we've been doing the stream uh, has all just been kind of like more or less laying the foundation and getting things started, getting things rolling with the community, with the Optimistic Futures Discord group, and and just really kind of getting our process and our flow going. Huge pullback, by the way. So we rejected pretty heavily off that 200 moving average on the 3 minute chart that we talked about. That's 200 simple moving average, by the way. Consolidated in this zone and pulled all the way back to the view app. That pullback to the view app, which was what I said I didn't want, um, could indicate a trend reversal to the downside. It has this kind of like this one chance here to hold VWAP and then push up from there. Because when we did break VWAP, we're basically almost at the same area that we are now, which was right in this like 36 to 35 zone. And the VWAP moved up, but not very much. So we're gonna really need for this to hold the VWAP in order to continue another bullish move to the upside. Um, and in that case, when that happens, this 200 moving average will have moved down some. So it's likely going to create resistance along this zone, maybe in like the 3750 area, and then we'll want to see the breakout above that with the 50 crossing above the 200 moving average. So good trades today so far. I think we only took one loss. Actually, we didn't even take a loss on that trade. Um, we were close to it. Maybe we took a loss. I don't remember. Anyway, up to 1875 in the sim and about 300 on the evaluation. We finally went green in the eval after all this time. Um, we worked our way out of a pretty nasty hole. Cooling on the TTM now on the 5 from 17.5 down to 17.1 down to 16.5. So moving downward by about half a point of momentum. But if you look, when we got these larger momentum moves to the upside, we're moving by like 2 points, maybe 3 points sometimes to the up on the momentum chart. So I'm pulling back now for 20 minutes. I think that there is potential for a trend reversal here, or I should say a bounce to the upside. Although we are continuing to push down. Just because we have room for it doesn't mean that it is going to happen. We continue to push down. We did just fall below the 50 moving average on the 5 minute chart. That's pretty important because that 50 moving average often acts as support and resistance. And if it stops acting as support and starts acting as resistance, then that's going to indicate more downward movement. Checking the one. One is pretty solid red on the TTM. Now we're looking to bounce, I guess, off the 200 simple moving average. By the way, guys, if y'all chilling, y'all hanging out, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications and all that type of fun stuff, because that does help you get notifications um, for us here at this community. We also unlocked the community tab on YouTube. So if you guys have any ideas on how you would like that community to roll out, and if the community tab on YouTube is even something that you guys utilize, I would love to hear from you guys on there. For this, if you guys are interested in earning funding in the futures market, make sure you check out Elite Trader Funding. Elite Trader Funding is super dope. These guys are really awesome in terms of customer service and whatnot. Um, and personally, I'm doing the 50K evaluation. I personally look for a company that is really good and very strong at their customer support. To me, that really matters. It makes a really, really big difference. But if you guys are looking to earn funding, you can actually earn funding all the way up to $300,000, and you can utilize that $300,000 or any evaluation that you take here to trade with somebody else's money, and you can earn off of that. They'll do an 80-20 split with you, so you keep 80% of the profits. And personally, I think this 50K evaluation is one of the best ones to go with, in my opinion. And that is because they allow you 8 contracts, which is a lot of contracts, in my opinion. 8 of the many. I personally trade 5 for risk management purposes, and that still allows pretty heavy profits. You have a max drawdown of 2,000 with a profit target of 3,000. Pretty reasonable numbers to hit. And if you use the link in my description and the promo code JSBEST, you'll actually receive the best available price that is out there right now. More than likely, I think it's roughly 25% off of the price that you see here, and that's applicable to any of the products that you see, with the exception of the fast track evaluations, because these are already heavily discounted. The fast tracks are pretty cool because they basically give you a deadline with this one. You have to trade for a minimum of 5 days, and you have a maximum of 14 calendar days. You have 2 weeks to pass this, but they're pretty inexpensive. They start at $45. There's also one for 75 in order to earn 100K. You just need to hit six grand in that 2 week period. So if you're more of an experienced trader and you want to get funded quickly, the fast tracks are pretty cool with that. I should say quickly and cheaply, because it takes roughly the same amount of time. The one-step evaluations, in my opinion, are one of the best because these guys are they just have a minimum but no maximum on the trade days. So I really like the one step myself. And then there's the static evaluations. These are cool if you just want a very straightforward um, type of earning thing. You hit your 2K in profit, you have a max drawdown of 625. The end, you can take 2 contracts. Um, so you just basically need to hit that 2K with a minimum of 5 trading days. So personally, I think the one steps are one of my favorite design. And then they have the traditional that you'll find at all the other prop firms, which is the end of the day drawdown evaluations. This is the kind that you normally see out there, where you've got this sort of like trailing drawdown that like moves up with you, um, and it's based off like your peak of the day. So personally, I like the one steps myself, because they're kind of a unique way of doing the evaluations. So, my opinion, they're one of the best. Jumping back into the charts, we did get that bounce off that 50 moving average now. So we got a possible crossover happening. We did finally get a yellow candle right around the time that I started talking. Finally got a yellow candle off that 50 moving average, or sorry, 200 moving average, and bounced up off of that. Hit resistance at 42 and a half, and currently pulling back off of that. So what we're going to want to see now is the cyan switch happen. So we went from 8.4 to 7.8. to 6.6, call it 6.7. So this was a nice move from 7.8 to 6.6, 1.2 move to 5.8, so 6.6 to 5.8.8, to 5.1, so that's 0.7, to 4.3, so that's 0.8. So next line in the sand is this VWAP. Got to get above that VWAP and hold in order for me to get back interested in going long in this. I think this is going to be kind of an extended ABCD pattern. We got this move all the way from this this wedge pattern up here down to this 200 simple. Ripped again up to 42.5, which is right pretty much where that 26 simple is. Now we're pulling back to around the VWAP and bouncing off of there. I'm going to want to see that bounce off there and this cyan switch happen. Once that cyan switch happens, we'll see that push to the upside. But let's check this against the 3-minute chart. I always want to measure against the 3 and the 5 whenever I have the chance to. So in the 3, we've almost completely reversed on the TTM. So what I'd like to see on the 3-minute chart is either a red to a yellow followed by cyan, or just a straight up cyan and push on up. On the 3-minute chart, the 9 has crossed below the 12, really just a candle or two ago, from 3.0 to 1.0. So that's actually pretty heavy momentum towards the downside on the 3-minute chart. So the overall trend on the 3 is still showing potentially for the down. We'll have to see if we continue to bounce off this 50 EMA, which you see we did here in this zone and currently doing right now. If it breaks below this and stays below this, then that shows cause for concern about movement to the downside. The fact that this went from 3.0 to 0.5, that's a 2.5 momentum movement to the downside, so I don't know that this is going to come back back upward. It might come back down and even test these lows if it keeps moving with that much momentum. These are all just kind of like possible scenarios right now. Right now things are in flux. 5-minute chart went from 16.1 to 14.3 on a cooling candle. Also, the 50 has just crossed below the VWAP. I don't know if that has any significance though. We got a long way to go before the 50 crosses above the 200 on the 5-minute chart though. Although that cross, like if we get this 50 crossing above the 200, that could even result in a multi-day bullish run. Cooling from 16.09 to 16.9 to 16.19 to 15.3. So not a lot of cooling when compared to how fast the momentum was moving here, which leads me to believe that we're going to actually maintain this sort of like this VWAP area and eventually break out toward the upside, potentially around 830. A possible crossover on the 1-minute chart. Really just looking for another trade. Haven't found anything that I like yet. Although that would have been nice, but we were in the middle of talking about something. So. .1 to 2.1 to 1.7, 2.1 to 1.7. That's 0.4 move up. It's not that strong. Getting some red dots on the TTM for the last 4 minutes on the 1-minute chart. And Volume is slightly low. You can see on these candles it was like in the 2500 range. Uh, Currently it's at like 33, 3200. So volume is a little low. I really want volume like kind of like above this like 4500 mark. That's when I notice that there's actually enough momentum for us to really be able to trade our strategy. Up 1875 in the sim, and around 300 on the eval. So we only ever ended up taking that one trade in the eval. We need a cyan switch on the 1 minute chart in order for me to get interested in this. Okay. New crossover here with the EMA 35 crossing above the 26. That's helpful for predicting trend reversal. Um, but uh, but taking a look at that trend reversal, if we're just seeing that happen now, then we still have time for that trend reversal to happen. Bouncing it again off 200 simple moving average. Um, so if that just happened, then this might happen in the next like 15 minutes, maybe closer to the top of the hour. So this could be about a half an hour now for this reversal to even happen, if it does at all. I actually think that it will on the day. I just don't think it's going to happen yet. On the 3 minute chart, going red on the TTM, and got a fresh 26 crossing above 12. From 0.3 to 2.7 on the down. Short there off of 35. Entered at 35 on short. Might be a mistake, but usually when I short, I just like to take scalps. So I'm looking for like 3 ticks to the downside, which we just got. So that's up 2,062.50 on the day in the sim, and we are continuing to push the downside. Took that short based off the momentum of the TTM on the 3 minute chart, and that's actually the chart that we use to make that scalp. So I hope everyone out there is doing well today. Um, I hope that you guys are prosperous today. I know I'm pretty optimistic about the markets, just moving downward and or moving upward, but having momentum is really what I intended to say. I feel pretty optimistic about the markets having momentum, whether it's to the up or the down. I prefer it to the upside. I just think it's easier to trade personally. Um, just because a lot of the times the shorts will just find a bottom and then just bounce up like crazy. So I find it easier to trade long, honestly, but that doesn't mean I don't take shorts every now and then. But but yeah. So I hope everyone out there is doing well and is staying green. Okay, 5 minute chart. New story being told. 9 crossing below the 12, and all that crossing below the 50 EMA moving average. So I actually think that we are going to continue to push downward more likely. Um, what's the low here? 3704. I can see us pushing down to the low 20s maybe. Would like to see it hold around 25 if possible. But right now, the movement is down. So the movement is bearish. I definitely could have taken that full 12 ticks that I initially shorted here. I'm back to the one. So I've been streaming for about an hour, and we've taken a reasonable amount of trades, and currently green on the day. Tiny's green too. Boom. She's green. But 74 after fees so far. So speaking of the fees and whatnot, let's go ahead and dive in here and see where we're at. So we've taken 35 contracts, 4.36 in fees, so 152.60 in fees. We subtract out our 26,250, so that means we're up 1909 and 90 cents on the day. And we've taken 7 trades, so 1909.9 divided by 7 trades means we made an average of $272.84 per trade today. Pretty good day so far. I'm not sure if I don't think we took a loss today. I think we had all green day. 4.9, 5.2, 3.0. Might get a yellow candle, the dip and rip. Need to wait for the yellow candle to resolve though. 4.9 to 5.2. It's very close. How much time is left in this candle? Another 25 seconds. First yellow candle on the TTM is usually a really strong trade. And it looks like we may be getting it here potentially. I'm not going to enter in a long yet. And that would have resistance here at the 200 moving average, right there at 33. There we are. Switching to yellow on the TTM. And the bid there. Going along. Rejected off that 200 moving average, like I said that we probably would. Not going to go for this full 3 ticks. Instead, I'm going to try and get out here at 34 3/4. Cutting that there. Took about 300 in profit on that one. I think we were at 26.2, so I probably took 250. 4.8 to 4.3. 15 seconds left in this candle. Looking for a pullback to the 200 moving average and bounce off that. Hopefully this is our trend reversal that we were predicting about 20 minutes ago. Possible crossover happening now. Look for a pullback to the 200 moving average. We get this crossover. Okay, so TTM went from 4.8 to 4.5. 242, so it's only moving at a factor of 0.3, so that's not much movement, but it is enough to push this up some, hitting resistance at the 35. That's to be expected. Checking this against the 3-minute chart. 3 minutes still showing red. Let's see. 6.5 to 8.0. It's pretty heavy momentum. Next one is at 39, which is in a minute. Charting against the 5. The 5 is not as helpful on this zone. So I'm switching back over to the 1. Okay, so what we need to see here is we need to see this 9, this yellow line, get above 12, which is the cyan line here. They are both crossing above the 50 moving, or the 200 moving average, so that's good. 4.0 to 3.3, movement is 0.7 on the TTM, so that's looking good. We got this 1 minute pullback, so the next trade would be a bounce off this this 35 zone here and a move up towards the VWAP. So joining the bid here. Honestly, wish I would have taken the entry earlier, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. And VWAP is at 38.5, so I'm going to put my sell order there at 38.5, which would be roughly 8 ticks. Currently at 37 and some change. Our entry is at 36.50, which we're currently pulling back from 3.3 to 2.8, movement a half a point. Pulling back. Doji at the top, pushing on through it. Should have that new 3-minute candle here. There we go. We got that trade up 28.1250 on the day in the sim. Wish I would have taken that in the evaluation, but now we're looking at rejection, or I should say resistance here at VWAP more than likely. So we got 3 seconds left in this candle. Switch over to the eval. Up at 5 ticks, and 9 is now above 12, getting close to a cyan switch directly above the VWAP, and we're really close to a 1226 crossover. I'm going to join the bid here in the sim. Join the bid at 39.75, looking for a move up to 43 or 45. Definitely should have waited for this full pullback toward the VWAP. You got a little overzealous. 2.1 to 0.7. That's looking pretty good. Honestly, wouldn't mind if this ended red and then we got to push on the next candle. That would be preferred. Cyan switch now. In the bid here. Entered at order 39, filled. Looking to get at 40.25. Cutting it.
Order filled.
Took actually a loss on that due to fees. So we got a flat trade on that, but I guess it's better because we're still green on the day. So up to 68.90 on the day. We lost about 20 some odd bucks on that because of fees. 5 contracts times 436. So I think this is still going to break out. We do have resistance there at that 40 zone. New cyan candle. Checking against the 3 now. We got a possible crossover on the 3-minute. Next 3-minute candle is at 45, which is not for a while. This is the current 3-minute candle. I would be looking for this actually to be like a red 3 for the next candle to be 3-minute candle to make a new high. Checking the 5. Looking now for a move up to 45, 37.45. I think that would be a reasonable move to the upside. We got this 5-minute hammer candle on a cooling TTM candle. again, this candle, this new one is at 8:45 as well. Switching back to the 1 minute chart is looking pretty decent. We're back at flat. TTM stacking on the 1 reasonably well, from 1.3 to 2.3, so that's looking pretty nice and strong. A 1.0 move there. Tempted to join the bid just as I feel like it's going to break out, but it's just not there yet. And I don't want to get stopped out on volatility or some other random stuff like that. I personally think this is going to break out, but you see we got this little double top here at 37.40, so clearly resistance there at 37.40. Zooming in on the indicators, 9 is above 12, all of it's above 26. We got the 1226 crossover. It's currently passing above the EMA 35. So I do think that looks good. TTM went from 1.3 to 2.3 to 2.8. So I don't like that cooling there on that TTM, or I should say that sort of like momentum that slowed down some. Now we're looking for a bounce off this 12. I may have to cut this trade. I think I do. Yeah, cutting that. Pretty fat loss on that one. Down 18, or I should say up 18, 12, 50. But we were up much more than that. And we also took a little bit of a loss on the evaluation. So we're up 268 on the eval today, and we're still green in the evaluation by a couple of bucks. But basically the fees, it was a flat trade, but the fees ended up making it a downside trade. This just rallied right back up the moment I sold it. 2.3 to 2.6 to 3.4, movement of 0.8. It's pretty decent. Is it 45 yet? Yeah. Okay, so we got a yellow candle forming on the 3-minute TTM from 9.2 to 8.6. That's looking solid. Ah, man, look at that. I wish I didn't cut that trade. Alright. Join the bid here, looking for an entry at 41. I don't know if we're going to get that, but switching to the 5, I just want to check against this. Okay, so we did enter at 41. 5-minute chart is still showing weakness on the TTM. Red dot here, and hasn't quite put in the move. We're looking to get out of this trade at 44. We got the entrance at 41. Waiting for the 5-minute chart. Nice entry though off of 41, and gonna cut that trade there. Made 500 of that back. Not quite as good as where we were, but still good. Did end up hitting 44, which was our original exit point. So probably should have just held it. Would have got the full 750, but it is what it is. Green is good. Ended with a doji. 2.6 to 2.6 to 3.9. Very strong momentum move to 5.4 on that doji. To 6.4 on this currently red candle. And I think we may have a new 3-minute. Next one's at 48, I think. So we did break out above that. Hit 44, and now we're pulling back down to 40. Need this next 3-minute candle. Gonna hang off for the next 7 seconds or so till we see it form. I want to see yellow on the TTM for the next candle. Just watching it now. Okay, got a possible crossover and yellow. from 8.6 to 7.7, a move of 0.9, which is stronger than the 9.2 to 8.6. You also have that possible crossover happening, which is a 1226 crossover. 9 is still below the 12 on the 3-minute chart, though. So, getting little bounces off of VWAP there. VWAP is at 3850. I think that we're going to continue to push up. Try and get an entry off of 39 for a move up to 42. Enter to 39 and looking for continued push upward. Check out the 1. 1 minute cooling slightly. Okay. So we need like a VWAP bounce here. And we need this 35, this dark blue line, to cross above this 50 EMA. Pulling back now. Our entry's at 39. We're down. We're right at our risk level. 6.1, 5.6. I don't like that. 49. We'll have another 3 minutes till 52. Check 3. From 8.6 to 8.1, so move a half a point on the TTM. By the way, guys, if you guys don't know about the TTM, we do a video on this channel called Why I Love the TTM Squeeze. You guys may want to check that out. It's geared towards stock trading, not futures trading, but the concepts are very similar. I'll probably make an updated one eventually for futures because the movement is slightly different and the way that I utilize it is slightly different, but the concepts are very much the same that are taught in that video. So, I should say talked about in that video, not necessarily taught. We're not professionals and we don't pretend to be. Next 3 minute is at 51. Which is right now. Cutting this trade. Lost a lot on that, 1250. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down on the day there. Kind of hit my loss limit. So we're still, yeah, don't give back anymore. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to cut it right there. So we did end up giving back a little bit more, another K. But we're ending the day up 1187. Excuse me, 1187.50. I think our peak of the day was like 2,800. So we gave back like roughly 1,700, but we're still ending the day up $1,200 and around 300 in our evaluation. We did have a break-even trade in the eval for that second trade there, and unfortunately, because it was break-even, it still comes with associated fees attached to it. So it ended up being a loss of $20. But we're ending the day up 270 or so. In the evaluation is like 268 and change. And that puts us back into the green territory on the evaluation. So happy about that. Happy to be finally out of that red hole that we dug pretty much like the first day in the eval. So all those things considered, fairly decent momentum on the day, even though so much of it was hit so heavily by yesterday's FOMC meeting. But it's all good because we got to bounce off that 3,700 zone and got plenty of trade opportunities through 3,700 up to 3,750 area. So, all right, guys, make sure that you guys like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We've had very good, very awesome growth and engagement here, and I appreciate you guys because we're only just getting started. We have a long way to go and a whole sort of roadmap planned out for this YouTube channel and this community here, this optimistic futures community. And if you guys want to be a part of that, make sure you check out our Discord group. It's just joelstraight.com/Discord. There's also a link in the description that will take you right there. Additionally, guys, if you want to earn funding in the futures market like me, make sure you check out Elite Trader Funding. These guys are awesome in terms of customer service. The products are awesome. The evaluations, in my opinion, are incredibly competitive with what is out there in the marketplace right now. And in fact, you can even use the link in my description and the promo code JSBEST, that's JSBEST, to actually beat out the competition's pricing um, and get the best deal available to you guys right now with Elite Trader Funding. Personally, I think the 50K evaluation is one of the most competitive in the marketplace. It allows you to take 8 contracts in the mini as opposed to the 5 that you'll see at most of the other prop firms out there. In addition to that, the profit target is only 3,000, and they give you a $2,000 drawdown. On top of that, it only requires a minimum of 5 trading days, whereas the most of the prop firms out there require a minimum of 10 trading days or 2-step evaluation. There's only a 1-step evaluation. Um, I like that they've taken this approach because it deviates from what is out there in the marketplace for prop firms. They also do have the traditional style that you'll find at most prop firms, which is the end of the day drawdown evaluations. So if you feel more comfortable with that, you guys are welcome to go with this. Personally, I think that the 1-step are a little bit better value in my opinion, because you can see with the 50K eval on the end of the day, you get a daily loss limit of 1,100 with that profit target of 3,000 for actually 5 more bucks. So if you look at the 50K eval on the 1-step evaluations, you actually get a $2,000 drawdown, same profit target, and it's $5 cheaper. So I think that taking advantage of that sort of offering, I think is more reasonable for most traders, and I think it provides a little bit more flexibility. So make sure you guys check out Elite Trader Funding if you guys are looking to earn funding in the futures market. And having said all that, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. That is 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 market time. And yeah, stay happy, stay green, stay optimistic, and we will see you guys in the Discord community. And I look forward to seeing you guys there and conversing with you. And I hope everybody has an amazing day. And I will see you tomorrow. Peace out, y'all. Stay green. Oh, and remember, it is gratitude month. So before you sit down and trade, make sure you just take a deep breath and think of at least one thing. Feel at least one thing that you're grateful for. All right. Um, Personally, I am feeling grateful that we're back in green in our evaluation. I know that's a little bit surface level, but I am grateful for it because I worked really hard to get out of that hole, and we're finally there. On top of that, I'm just grateful for my family and the growth of this audience and this community here, and how much you guys are helping each other out. So grateful to you guys for that. So much love, appreciation, and stay grateful, stay green, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out, y'all.